Okay, so let's now understand how to create a new file on Photoshop. So basically, from the launch screen, you can click on the new file option, and that will open the dialog box for you to create a new document on Photoshop. So this is one way you can create a new file. You can alternatively go to File and then click New, which will open the same new document box. Or if you are on the workspace and then you click on File and New, it will again open the new document dialog box. Okay, so let's understand some basic functionalities on this. So let's look from the top. So the first tab that's selected is recent. So basically, these are the most recent templates that you've used in Photoshop. That will show up here, okay, as a list. And you can also search for more templates on Adobe stock here. I'll explain in a while what that means. Next is saved, which means if you've saved a particular format or a kind of document that you want to work, that would be in your presets and that will show up here. Okay. Next is photo. So if you are designing a file or if you've opened a photograph on Photoshop and you want to import that into the file, then I would suggest go to photo and then choose the kind of size that you like. Usually, the 4 by 6 is the regular size that you put in the album. So the Photoshop is showing you those templates that it can readily open for you. Okay, and it's at 300 ppi. Um, at 6 by 4 inches. All right. So about PPI and DPI, I've made a presentation. So please refer to that and you'll get a better understanding. Below, as you scroll down, you can see a lot of templates that Photoshop has to offer. These are free and you can download them. Basically, click on it and it'll open up as a new document and you can modify them based on your own images and then save them. So you don't have to create everything from scratch. Photoshops give you an option here to readily work on files. But if you do want to create things from scratch, then there is option on the right, which we'll go through in some time. So let's move to the next, which is print. So if you want to create a document for print, then Photoshop will give you an option to either open it in a letter size. A letter size is basically the size of a formal letter here in the West. That's 8.5 by 11 inches at 300 ppi. A legal is slightly bigger. A tabloid is bigger than the legal, and A4 is the standard size that they use in the East, which is Asian countries for printing. And right below this, you can see view all presets. If you click on it, there are more different options of page sizes that you can ask Photoshop to create a canvas for. Okay, so if you are unsure of the size, you just click on that button and then you can select any of these. Let's go to the next, art and illustration. So basically, if you are a painter and you are opening a new document to paint, then you can choose one of these, which is pixel grids. So Photoshop will generate a canvas with pixel grids and you can easily paint on top of that. Let's go to next, which is web. So this is interesting because most of your assignments will be dependent on web-based format. So Photoshop will give you a plethora of options here for different screen sizes. All right. So this is the most common laptop screen size, which is 1366 by 768 at 72 ppi. Now, the issue with this particular template offered by Photoshop is that it's offering you in 72 ppi, which is the web standard resolution. All right. A web standard resolution is the kind of image that you see on browsers, which is quickly loadable because it's compressed. However, when working on a design file, you always have to make sure that the resolution or the PPI is 300. So even if I do choose this template, I can go ahead and change the resolution here, which we'll get to in some time. Okay, let's go next is mobile. Here you can choose a mobile format if you're designing banners or stories for mobile. Then this is suitable. Film and video. This is interesting because if you're creating a video project, then you can select a template based on the size that you want the video to be. 1920 by 1080 is full HD. Um, HD 720, which is 1280 by 720, is half HD. All right, and there are other different formats as well, tons of different format depending on the kind of output that you are trying to showcase the media into. Let's say you want to do a 4K film, so there's also a format for 4K here. So that's interesting. Right, so let's go to the right side here. So here's the preset details. So here's the name of the new document that you need to give. So let's say I change this to my file here, and I want the width to be 1920 in pixels and height in 1080. Okay, so here you have a couple of options that you can choose, which is pixels, inches, centimeters, and millimeters. Now, I have explained these in detail in the presentation, so please refer to that. So, but it is important to note when to use what. So if you are creating web graphics for the website and for digital use, then pixels is what you need to select. If you're for designing something for print, then it has to be inches. Even centimeters is for print. Inches is when you're designing for print, which is larger. Okay, let's say a 10 feet banner or an 8 feet banner, then you choose inches. Centimeters if you're choosing to design for a letter or you're choosing to design for an A4 size. Millimeters is something for like a photograph, half size of that. Points is basically if you're designing something for typography, let's say type document, then points is good. Picas if you are designing a blueprint of a construction building or the line drawing of an internals of a building, then Picas is good to go. So for this project, we will choose 1920 by 1080. And you see the orientation here is landscape, which means the width would be 1920 and the height would be 1080 here. So you can switch this by clicking on the orientation and it'll get a vertical orientation where it'll switch the sizes. 1920 became the height and 1080 became the width. Okay. So this is to switch. And then next to that is artboards. We won't get into this yet. We'll look into this later. And below that is resolution. So I would always suggest you to set every new document to 300. And then pixels per inch is good. Pixels by centimeter is another option, but I always choose pixels per inch. And perhaps that you should do the same. It's the best practice to do. Below that is color model, okay, color mode. And if you are designing for web graphic and digital use, then always select RGB. I've explained this mode in my presentation in detail. Please refer to the presentation and I've made an explanation for each. And also on the bits of what you can select 8-bit, 16-bit, and 32-bit. Uh, so please refer to the presentation. We'll select 16 bits here. Background is what is the color of the background canvas that you need when the file new document opens up. Okay, so right now it's set to white. There's also a black option. There's a background color. You can choose transparent as well or a custom color. You can also choose the color of the background by clicking on the color box right here. And let's say if you choose red, then you will have this red box showing, which means the background would be red. All right. Color profile, you can control these options by clicking on the advanced options here. Color profile is basically the profile that you will be using to create this particular file. All right. So depending on where you are trying to view this, if it's digital, then you would always select sRGB because majority of the digital devices out there follow the sRGB color scheme. I've again explained this in detail in the presentation. And if you click on don't manage color, then Photoshop will not set any color, what you call profile to your document, and it will let the computer or uh, the hardware decide what the colors need to be. I wouldn't suggest this because you don't have control over the colors if you select this. Adobe RGB is a slightly wider gamut compared to sRGB. It's good uh, if you are going to be printing your document or your file in the future, then I would suggest Adobe RGB. Um, the biggest color gamut that is being offered is in Pro Photo RGB. But again, that will increase the file size because it stores more colors. So for now, for our project, we'll keep it sRGB, which is always good to have. And then pixel aspect ratio. Okay, so what is pixel aspect ratio? So right now it's selected as square pixels. So depending on the kind of device that you will be viewing the image or the file that you're designing, uh, there are different devices that show the pixel differently. Some of the older cameras, like the Sony Handycam, uses a lengthy, like an elongated pixel instead of a square pixel. So depending on which device you are going to be viewing, you need to select this options here. I would always select square pixels since we are going to be designing in for digital formats. Okay, so once you've selected all the options, you click create, and then you see the canvas with the color of the red background and all the dimensions that we needed has open right in front of us. And you can see it's open as a new file, which is given the name. And here you can see this is the file name, and it's at 66.7% zoom level, all right, which means that's the level of the zoom I have. So if I increase the zoom, you can see that it's now 100%, okay? If I increase it more, it's 200% right here. And right next to that is the color scheme which we've selected, which is RGB, and /16 is the 16 bits that we selected. Okay, so this is a good reference on what the kind of file that you're working on. At the bottom as well, you can see it's at 100% zoom. If I reduce the zoom, it goes to 66. So that's your good indication here. And it also says what's the size of the document and at what is the resolution that it's at. Okay, so yeah, this is your tutorial for opening a new file.